This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it's time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn, his sidekick, John DiNallo, and it is Tuesday, March 31st, the last Tuesday in March, the last day in March. And just so you all know that are listening in, because we are live, we're due for a storm, and so the internet is sort of funky right now. I guess that's a good word to use. So if for some reason the internet goes down, we'll just have to come back another day. But in the meantime, we are here to share some real news, sometimes weird, always funny. At least we think so. Right, guys?
Of course.
So, I didn't go to rehearsal this morning because I was just too lazy to get up. So, Paul, what are we going to talk about today?
We noticed that, Karen. You
Yeah.
were missed. There was no donuts. The coffee was cold.
Yeah.
John brought his usual bologna sandwiches, which
Hey, quit giving them up my secrets, Paul. Come on.
yeah, they're healthy. They were on whole wheat bread. Anyways, hey everybody, thanks for joining us. It's What in the World, everybody's favorite weird news show. Real news, sometimes weird, always funny. I'm your host, Paul Seaburn. Thank you for joining us on Tuesday, as Karen mentioned. It is funky. That's a nice word we can use on a family show. So that's the one we'll stick with. But hopefully we'll make it through without a problem. It is a beautiful warm day in Northeast Ohio. For those of you wondering where we're at, where in the world we're at, that's where we're at. We'll mention it a couple of times during the show. I'll mention it right now because I want to salute our sponsors and our partners. Let's see, Cleveland 13 News. You see their logo up there on the board behind us. Thank you to them for hosting our YouTube podcast. We also have newclevelandradio.net. Yes, I can coaching with Karen. There, I'll get it out eventually. That's what happened. Karen wasn't at rehearsal, so we didn't go over those things. She likes to drill us on saying the things over and over again, so we get them right. You're just going to have to put up with it. So thank you so much for that. Let's see, we're on all the various platforms. We're also on YouTube, as I mentioned. So please go to YouTube and A, follow us, and B, it's a good place to see some of the photos that we have that go along with the show. Thank you for joining us live. Thank you for joining us in the future from Spotify or YouTube, wherever you're coming from. Karen and I are on Facebook, so you can find out more about the show on Facebook. Send us tips, send us news stories, don't send us your complaints. Send those to Joe Rogan. That's
a good idea.
Yeah, he can handle it. But yeah, we love to hear from you. We love to hear from our listeners and our viewers.
Well, we just heard from somebody this week.
We did. Oh, that's right, we did. We'll talk about that in a second. Yes.
Okay.
So let's see, where are we at here? So the voices in your ear. The first voice is Karen Hale, our media mogul, producer, co-host at New Cleveland Radio. I see I've got them all mixed up. You're the media mogul at newclevelandradio.net. Wow, boy, I'm having a tough time here. I didn't even introduce I did introduce myself. Thank you for joining us. If you found us from my old job at Mysterious Universe, or if you're coming from my other podcast, which is It Could Only Happen on Earth with Marcus Louth. A lot of paranormal stuff there. So if you found us through there, thanks again for joining us from there. So Karen Hale is the media mogul. Check her out at newclevelandradio.net. If you need coaching services, great coaching services there, as well as all the other great podcasts that she has. The other voice in your other ear is none other than our other co-host, our color commentator, my old buddy, John DiNallo. Hey, John, how you doing?
Oh, good, Paul. Thanks for the introduction. I know every week I have to try to follow through and come through with your come through to meet your expectations.
Oh,
With
and
all
I have
with,
such high expectations. Yes,
well, I'm saying with the praise that you pass along to me, you know, which is greatly appreciated. So
there you go.
thanks again.
Our bar is set very high for this show. So, you know, if John can qualify for it, he is a rarity in the podcasting world. So
Yes,
we're
he
so
is.
lucky to have him. So yeah, Karen mentioned that you know, we love to get feedback on the show, and this week we got a very interesting feedback from a story that we did last week. So let's see if I can tell the story. I'll bring you up to date if you haven't looked at the or listened to last week's show. We were talking about Bigfoot playing baseball, and I got an interesting email from someone who said that they had been notified by something on their webpage about Bigfoot in baseball, and they were interested because they happened to be working for the team that I was talking about. Turns out the story is the Mahoning Valley Scrappers, a minor league team in Warren or Niles, Ohio, about an hour from here. They have a promotion coming up in June where they're changing their name for a night to the Mahoning Valley Grassmen. And listeners of our show and paranormal people know that the Grassman is the name we give to Bigfoot in Cleveland, or in Ohio, the Bigfoot in Ohio. And it's simply put, it's because the Native Americans would find these piles of grass that looked like it might be a hut or a nest, and they thought that this must be this Bigfoot thing they see wandering around. So they called him the Grass Man. And when the Europeans came, they heard about it, and they decided to stay anyways to see if they could see the Grass Man. And it turns out it took like 300 years, but over the past month, people have been seeing Bigfoot throughout Northeast Ohio, which we've talked about as well. So anyways, to make a long story short, so one of the marketing people at the Scrappers listened to our podcast from last week and said, hey, you guys talked about us and you talked about Bigfoot and all this. So we're going to try and do something with them if we can for that particular promotion. So, you know, we're out there. It's great. Thank you so much to Matt from the Scrappers and to everybody else who sends in information. We would love to do that. We'd love to get more exposure for What in the World. So thank you so much for doing that. And a special thanks again to Matt at the Scrappers. Okay, so Karen asked me a long time ago, and I didn't forget, Karen, what are we talking about today on What in the World? Oh, great story. Bigfoot again. This time we're going to talk about Bigfoot in Parma, Ohio, which is a place that's near and dear to John and my heart because we grew up there, right down the road from us, a suburb of Cleveland. We've got a made for Cleveland side hustle. We like to talk about side hustles for if you're retired and you're looking for something to pass the time, or if you need a second job. This is a Cleveland oriented side hustle. So wait till you hear about it. Ugly bears in India. That's it was a popular story on my Facebook page. So it's here on What in the World. We'll get into greater depth on that. Some world records. I've got some world record balloons, one from Connecticut and another one from Austria, of all places, doing two completely different things. An unusual place to and this is going to sound dirty, an unusual place to put your pickles in England. It's not dirty, so please stick with us and listen
Well,
to
thanks for the disclaimer, Paul. I'm glad you offered that.
you know,
Yes.
John, everybody has disclaimers now. You know, that's the way the world today is full of disclaimers.
Absolutely
so
right, Paul. Absolutely
we got to
right.
protect the little children that are watching our show. So anyway, plus we got more odd news. We've got world records. We've got trivia. John's got a great unusual sport for us this week, and then we play everybody's favorite weird news game, Bluff the Co-host. Oh boy, we can't wait for that. So let's get started. I'll get my photos up here. I think I've got our logo up first. There we go. And then we've got the other sponsor of the show. What Would You Say to a Naked Space Alien? My new book available on Amazon. Also, check it out on my website, paulseaburn.com. So it's this Sunday. Let's see, this is Tuesday, March 31st. This Sunday is Easter Sunday, but you can tell for a while in the Northeast Ohio area that spring has come and Easter is right around the corner. Why do I say that? Because my yard, like many yards in Northeast Ohio, has one of these Easter trees, and my Easter tree is blooming just in time for the holiday on Sunday. Isn't that beautiful, Karen?
Look at the kielbasa and
Yes.
pierogies. Wow.
I need to give you a cutting, John, as they say in the gardening world, and you can plant one in your yard. So it's
I don't know
full.
how that would go over with a net, but I'll, we'll
Oh,
have to
come
look
on.
into it.
Look, oh, she would love to go out, as you can see in the picture. She would love to go out some evening and cut and trim off some kielbasa growing at the tree. Kielbasa, a couple of pierogies, maybe an egg. That's a dinner that she doesn't even have to cook. Come on, John, you need to give Annette a break.
Okay, all right.
There's flowers growing underneath it. There's eggs all over the place. So anyway, that was a funny. That comes from my there's a Facebook page, Polish T-shirts and souvenirs, something like that supply us with some really cool pictures. So there we go. All right. While we're talking about Northeast Ohio, let's move to Parma. We've had Bigfoot sightings. They stopped at 8. But people are still looking for Bigfoot all across Northeast Ohio. They're not sure if the migration has ended yet, and all the Bigfoot is headed to Pennsylvania. We hope they stick around at least until June or come back for the big Grassmen game. But anyways, there's a big concern in Parma, of all places, because so many people are interested in Bigfoot now that they're afraid that Bigfoot statues may take over for the flamingo statues.
Oh my.
Oh yeah, the flamingo statues are everywhere in Parma, but slowly but surely people are picking up on these Bigfoot statues. There's a picture of Bigfoot holding a beautiful, if that's a statue, it's a lovely flamingo right there. The even though none of the sightings were in Parma, as far as we know. So here's a couple others here. This is at the one of the Parma signs. It's a beautiful Parma. Apparently, I know I've seen that giant flamingo. It's like about a 7-foot tall flamingo, and there's Bigfoot standing next to the sign, towering over the flamingo.
That Bigfoot looks more like a gorilla than Bigfoot.
I know, yeah.
I have to say that as well. I agree with Karen. It really looks like a gorilla. In fact, it could be King Kong.
Yeah.
This is Bigfoot in disguise.
Oh, okay.
He's trying to fool the people in Parma because I guess he heard that they're easily fooled, but we know that they're not. So I think I've got another one here. So this is from my yard. With my lovely wife happens to have a Bigfoot flag, and our yard is full of pink flamingos. But she every spring she puts up the Bigfoot flag with Bigfoot running away with one of our flamingo statues.
Wow, look at that! Something.
Isn't that something? Yeah. So boy, she was so proud of herself when she found that, and all the neighbors know about it. I think I have one more here. Oh, this is for you, John. Here's Bigfoot with a pool toy, one of those life preserver type things.
Yeah,
made into the shape of a flamingo, and the whole thing is on a T-shirt. But that looks like you in Florida down there with Hawaiian shirt,
I don't know about
flip
that.
flops.
Yeah, I don't know.
So anyways, if you do have a Bigfoot statue in your yard, they're warning people, especially in Parma, to be careful when you go out first thing in the morning, because if the real Bigfoot heard about it, you may find that, it may look like a female Bigfoot, and you may find a male Bigfoot in your yard doing, I'll use Karen's term, doing the funky with your statue. And this is, Bigfoot has romances too. Here's a perfect, beautiful picture, a silhouette of a male and female Bigfoot from the rear, and very clean, by the way. It's a silhouette, so you can't see anything dirty there. But so all the Bigfoot people have been coming to Ohio and doing their they're appearing on TV shows and giving their analysis and complaining that there were no footprints and there's no hair and all the good stuff that would help prove that Bigfoot did pass through here. The you know, it to me, I think this is just a sign that these Bigfoot really were from Michigan, because they're typical Michigan people. You know, they come in, they chase our women, they drink our beer, and then they run to Pennsylvania and do the same thing in Pittsburgh.
Where did you get that information from?
From somebody in Cleveland.
Okay.
So the experts, though, they are saying, just to be safe, don't leave your car unlocked with food on the seat, especially like a dozen donuts, because that's one of Bigfoot's favorite foods. So that to me is a sign that this particular Bigfoot person never lived in Northeast Ohio, because no one ever leaves a dozen donuts on their car seat. If you went to get donuts, by the time you get to wherever the next place it is you're going, 2 of them are already gone. So you're down to, you're down to 10, or maybe 9 if you're John or myself. So, take that with a grain of salt, but don't do that anyway. Also, a lot of people are looking down on these amateur Bigfoot hunters, which is wrong. Everybody needs something to believe in. Everybody needs a hobby. I support them. Get out there, get out in the fresh air, get out in the park, look for Bigfoot. Don't trample on too many things. Pick up the trash after you're done and have a good time. But what's happening is just a sheer coincidence. A documentary came out just last week about the most famous picture of Bigfoot ever taken. This is from a film. There's a picture right there. That's a screenshot from it. It's about a 50, maybe 70-second film, and it's called the Patterson-Gimlin film, because the 2 guys that made it, their names were Patterson and Gimlin. This was out in California, Northern California. So this document, and it's been studied. This came out in the 1960s. It's been studied to the nth degree. And people believe it's Bigfoot. In fact, many of them believe, if you look closely at that photo, as I know John is, it appears that this Bigfoot has 2 breasts. So
yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's they're implying that this is a female Bigfoot. Now, skeptics will also look at the Bigfoot's face and notice that it looks like that there might be more like a human face peeking through a hole in a Bigfoot costume. So it's been controversial ever since it came out, but really more so now because of this documentary. So the documentarian interviewed some people out there and somebody found a new film, and I don't have the rights to it, but this 40-second film was made by allegedly by the same people when they were testing a different Bigfoot suit. So they said this particular picture has a much skinnier Bigfoot walking in a very similar wooded area. And so this guy tried to track it down, and he didn't talk to Patterson, but he talked to Patterson's son. And Patterson's son said, "Boy, I'm glad somebody finally asked me about this." So he says that his father was sick when he made the film, and he did it because he knew that it would become famous, and his family could sell it or show it or make some money off of it after he passed away. So he said that his mother told him, "Don't ever tell anybody that," but his mother passed recently too. So now he's out there telling this story. He says that the guy who is in the Bigfoot suit, this one right here, it was a guy in maybe a female Bigfoot suit, we don't know. He's 80 years old, and he told him that his father burned the Bigfoot suit. So there's no Bigfoot suit anymore. But the guy admitted that he was in the suit. So for what it's worth out there, it's I don't have any more information than that. I'm not making any commentary on whether the original film is real or fake, whether the new film is real or fake. Have fun with it. That's all I can say.
Absolutely.
John, what do you think? You give me your professional opinion on that photo. What do you think of it?
Well, it's probably the best one, the most recent one, I should say, right? And it is a little grainy, but compared to the others, it's a distinct being of some kind, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, if you see the movie, and the original movie is very grainy and very blurry, and they've taken artificial intelligence and they've cleaned it up, and
Hmm.
so they've made it look much better than it originally was. But yeah, it's one of the better images of
I
what.
would have to say so, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So at the same time, and then to top it all off, we get these meteors. So we had these meteors flying over Cleveland and busting up and dropping. People are finding meteor fragments all over the place. They don't know if it's linked to Bigfoot, but some people said that it was. Some people said that it was a spaceship connected to this Bigfoot. You can spot. So they're sending people are sending meteor experts to pick up to look for the fragment. So those are the ones, they've got hazmat suits on and they've got yeah, these are big time. But the Cleveland people, I got to admire the Cleveland people because I saw some people out there with homemade metal detectors. Here's a guy. He's got I think he must be down by Edgewater Park over there. I think that's where that's at. He's got a broom. He's got some magnets taped to the broom with some duct tape, and he's looking for whatever he can find down there. God bless him. That's Cleveland spirit right there.
Yep, that is.
Yeah, you don't need fancy equipment. Just get out there and look for them. So I don't know how many magnets he's got attached there. But anyways, so moving on from Bigfoot for a while here. We're always looking for side hustles. We like to be, John was in the recruitment business for many, many, many years. So we're kind of continuing his business on What in the World by anytime we hear of a good part-time job or a side hustle, we like to share it with you. So this one is perfect for Cleveland because winter is over. It's March 31st, so we're already into spring, but we still have leftovers from winter. And by leftovers in Cleveland, I mean potholes everywhere. And it turns out, they're like the buzzards. We many people have heard about the buzzards that come back to Cleveland for the Ides of March every year. So we get the buzzards come to Hinckley and the potholes come to Cleveland. That's kind of
Yes.
that works.
Wow, look at that one, Paul. That's over on West St. Clair or near West St. Clair.
Yeah,
looks like.
yeah. It's a big pothole. That's a big pothole. You know what they call big potholes in Cleveland? They call them sinkholes.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So this was it. This is actually happened like almost a month ago in downtown Cleveland on St. Clair. You can see the St. Clair sign over there. The driver was unhurt. There's a car in the sinkhole, and he managed to back up somehow. I think the police may have helped pull his car out, and he actually drove away. I heard that the owners of the Browns were thinking, this might be a good thing to put a pothole over by Brown Stadium so Myles Garrett doesn't speed out of the stadium and get into another speeding ticket. Yeah. But, many people outside of Cleveland are looking at this and saying, boy, that's one huge sinkhole. That in Cleveland, that's called a pre-pothole. It's not even.
That's not even a full-fledged one.
Not even a full-fledged one, John. You're right. So, in fact, after this picture was taken, they said that a couple of guys came up with a boat. It had filled with water by then. It must have rained. And they put their boat in. They were fishing for perch. And they tell them, this is not a lake. This is a sinkhole. Yeah. So it's still not filled. Here's a picture of it today. So it's still, they have not.
Wow.
Yeah. So my thought is what they should do is rezone the district And if they rezone it like a bar, give it a bar zoning, somebody would come in and immediately clean it up and slap up a bar. And, this is Cleveland. And within a week, we'd have a new tavern downtown. Yeah. But so it hasn't swallowed in any more cars. But a lot of people who work downtown are hoping that it swallows up some of those electric scooters that are driving people crazy down there. Yeah, they drive people nuts. So and it hasn't gotten any bigger. The Cleveland politicians were down there hoping to tax it, put a property tax on it, and waiting for it to get bigger. It's not going to happen. That's as big as it's going to get. So, but John, that reminded me. This whole story reminded me of a concert we went to a long time ago, when we saw Hole open for the Cars. Do you remember that one?
No, I don't. Can you give us some more details?
No, that's it. That was my attempt to link Holes and Cars together. That was the best I could do.
Oh, okay.
So now this is a tip for everybody in Cleveland. There's a guy in New York who invented a side hustle that I believe would make 10 times more money in Cleveland than he's making in New York. So he's an auto mechanic I think he's in Brooklyn, one of the boroughs. He claims he makes $2,000 a night parking his mobile van, his tire van, next to a giant pothole. And when people go through the pothole, they damage their tire, they get a flat, they bend the rim. He's right there to repair their car for them. Not only does he make $2,000 a night, but he says there are some nights when he runs out of tire and actually has to have somebody go back to his shop and replenish his tire before the night is over. Would that work in Cleveland?
Yeah, I would think so. I would think it would.
I think so. Yeah. So he's worried. He was worried that the city, the city workers would come and repair the pothole. So he actually had a lid made for it that looks like asphalt. So as soon as he sees the truck coming, he throws this lid over it, and it looks like it's repaired.
Oh, geez.
So, but I mean, he could make more. He could put a little ramp there, and people see the ramp and they want to jump over it, like the Dukes of Hazzard or something like that. Wreck some more cars, generate even more business. To me, if you did something like this in Cleveland, the only problem would be we have so many potholes. There would be one of these trucks next to every pothole.
Yeah.
And there'd be a whole line of cars lined up. Before you know it, it would be a traffic jam and people would just stay home and take the bus, and that would be the end of the business. So we'd have to regulate it somehow. But, I salute this guy's ingenuity. I think that is a really smart way to take advantage of something bad that's happening and turn it into something good, at least for him, and help some people out who have flat tires. So I don't know. It's out there. That's our side hustle for the day. Now this next one could be considered to be a side hustle. I'm not sure that it would catch on in Cleveland, and you'll find out why when I explain it. So this one comes from India, and there's farmers in India are having a problem with monkeys. Now, we talked about the monkeys in India and in Southeast Asia before. They're treated as gods, so they're protected by the government, and nobody's allowed to harm them. So what happens is they're eating all the produce that the farmers are growing, and these particular farmers are growing potatoes and strawberries. Not a combination I would put in a smoothie. I don't know about you, but so the monkeys are protected. If there's anybody out there, any farmers out there or any crows out there, we have crows that eat our produce, and the crows are saying, we ought to be able to get that kind of protection too. Unfortunately, they're not religious crows, so they don't get protection. And also, nobody wants to eat crows, so nobody's going to kill them. And
So you have your horn ready for that one, Paul.
I know, yeah, a long way to work that one in. So, anyways, so what are the farmers doing to keep the monkeys out of their field? Here's what they're doing: they're wearing bear costumes. Now, if you can complain all you want about the Bigfoot costumes, but boy, go to YouTube and check out these bear costumes. They are perhaps the worst bear costume I have ever seen. John, do you
I have
believe?
to agree, Paul. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's get Karen's view on this, but yeah,
Doesn't look like a bear.
no.
These let me tell you, these bears are so ugly. Bees, they're normally protecting their honey. They can hear the bees laughing at them. The bees
Yeah.
just, let alone the monkeys.
Oh, boy.
The monkeys are mocking these farmers. They're dressing up as bear hunters and chasing these fake bears all around. So I don't. It's really not working. So one of the things that some of the nature people were saying is that it just shows how smart these monkeys are, because they're specializing. They're only picking strawberries, potatoes, and things that they can hold in one hand. So what they do is they're eating the food in one hand, and that leaves their free hand to throw poo at whoever comes around. More farmers, because
Oh boy.
That's what they do. They're smart monkeys, John. What do you think?
Yeah, sure.
It's like,
Everything's got to be able to make its way, right? So
well,
yeah.
and so these things. How would you scare a monkey away? Do you have any tips on scaring monkeys?
No, I really don't. I've never really given it much thought, to be honest with you.
The only thing I could think of is that movie, that Indiana Jones movie, where they were eating the monkey brains. Do you remember
Oh,
which?
right. Chilled monkey braids. Yes.
Yeah. What do you remember which version of Indiana Jones that
I
was?
think it was the first one. I think it was Raiders of the
Oh,
Lost Ark. I
close.
think.
That was the second one, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Oh, Temple of Doom. Okay.
Yeah, right. So the so I think they should show that. They should have put up a little screen in the field and show that to the monkeys and scare the heck out of them. Um, you know, Speaking of monkey brains, I think we saw monkey brains open for talking heads back in the day. Do you
Well,
remember?
it sounds like it would be a natural billing to have
It,
those two groups, right? But
it would be. It would be.
I'm going to say, Paul, I have to defer again.
Don't
I don't
remember that
recall
one either.
that. No, I remember that one either.
Okay. All right. So we got some world records coming up next. So there's a company in Great Britain called Raspberry Circle, and they set an unofficial Guinness World Record recently when they sent a high altitude balloon to a high altitude, 103,000 feet above the Earth, and over New York, and released a stuffed animal. There's a picture of the arm on the gondola of the balloon and the stuffed animal on the end of the arm. They reached the altitude where you can see the curvature of the Earth, and then they dropped the stuffed animal and set the record for the longest drop of a stuffed animal from a balloon. Actually, 116,000 feet. Stuffed animal was found intact in Connecticut. So the balloon, unfortunately, was shot down by a duck hunter as it was trying to get in. So this was protested. The believe it or not, there's protest groups everywhere. It was protested by a group, and I got to read this to you. The group is the PETSAB-TCM-BWSS. That stands for People for the Ethical Treatment of Stuffed Animals, Baby Toys, and Collectibles that might be worth something someday. So
Never heard of them. Never heard of that organization.
Never heard of them.
Whoa.
They're on their way up. They're moving up the list.
Whoa.
So for our Cleveland listeners, there's some people asked me if this is going to be a new ride at Cedar Point. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to have a balloon over Cedar Point and dump people off. And it wasn't even a real stuffed animal. This is their mascot, this Raspberry Company. It's actually a virtual pet. Some people collect Beanie Babies. Nobody's going to collect a virtual stuffed animal, as far as I know. But over 1 million people followed this test on Instagram. So it's,
Wow.
yeah, people with too much time on their hands, John.
Sounds like it.
Our poor astronauts, we're here on March 31st. If all goes well, our astronauts are going to be headed towards the moon again tomorrow. Our astronauts can't even get likes on Facebook, and this stupid stuffed animal dumped off a balloon gets all these.
It says something about us.
Not fair. That's right. It's not fair. Okay. So our other balloon story, and this was probably the most popular story I put on Facebook in a while, comes from Austria. Get ready for this. Karen, this is not your kind of story, so be prepared.
Okay.
This guy's name is Malte Duzner from Australia. He calls himself the king of the freaks. Why? I did, for one thing, it's just, John, you remember when we were in the fraternity together, we had a couple of people who were pretty freaky in the fraternity. I don't know if
yeah.
would have qualified as king. We did have some princes and dukes, but this guy proved himself worthy of the title King of the Freaks recently. Set a Guinness World Record for, get ready, the most balloons passed through the nose and out his mouth in 1 minute. Yes, there he is.
Oh, so boy.
Shoving the balloon, those long, skinny balloons, he shoves it up one nostril, and then he pulls it out of his mouth. He did 16 of them, 10 of them. 10 of them in 60 seconds. Not bad.
Not good either.
I'll tell you what, the Guinness people really cover a lot of ground, of course, right? These are world records. This is one of the most silly records I think anyone can gain. I mean, I guess this guy's looked at in his circle. Excuse me. Yeah. It looked at as his circle as being a king, but I don't know. I don't see it.
They're getting desperate. That's the way I put it.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
They're getting desperate.
Exactly.
This looks. If the balloons were lit, I think that somebody in our fraternity would have tried something like this. And you know who I'm talking about, John.
Oh yeah, sure I know. Yes. No names, please. No names.
Now, what I wish when he was done, they didn't say what he did with the balloons when he was done. After putting them up his nose and pulling them back out, I think he should have blown them up and turned and twisted them into a boogeyman.
That would be appropriate.
How about that? So actually, the judges had to clear the room 30 seconds into the competition or whatever it's called, because he looked like he was going to sneeze. Speaking of John sneezing, he looked like he was going to sneeze, and the balloons would have been blowing out his nose, out his ears.
Oh, that's I don't even want to think about that. Yeah. Wow.
You may notice if you look at the picture close enough, and I know Karen isn't.
No.
He's kind of greasy, so he was allowed to oil the balloons, which sounds awfully kinky to me. They were. He said he learned that trick while he was dating. I don't know about that.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I don't think we don't want to go there. So this is proof, people, that there are people in the world who will do anything to get mentioned on What in the World.
Absolutely.
So, there you go. Congratulations to you, Multi, or whatever your name is. You made it. You are now known by the rest of the world. How about that? Now, I've got a rival for the title of King of the Freaks. Here's another one. Guy from Finland. He's a professional circus performer called the Baron. He set a Guinness World Record for the heaviest vehicle pulled with his nipples. Yes.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh.
Let's think about that for a moment. I don't like it when my shirt rubs against my nipples. Especially if I got a wool undershirt on and it's the winter. This guy is pulling things with his nipples.
It hurts. Ow.
Yeah. So Karen, why? What else do guys use nipples for? We don't need nipples. So, he finally came up with the use for his nipples.
Yeah, well, good.
He actually pulled a carriage with a person in it. You can't see the person, but he's pulling a carriage like the kind that a horse pulls. He's pulling it with his nipple. It's a total of 2,184 pounds. His nipples are pierced, by the way, so they're not. It's not attached with duct tape.
Oh my.
My God.
So they said, how much does that weigh? 2,000 pounds. What is that equivalent to? It's equivalent to 1.5 cows or 2 grand pianos. Now, I heard a rumor that Elton John used to try to do this way back early in his career, and he decided forget it, and he went to wearing the weird costumes and glasses.
Wow.
So don't try this at home. But John, I thought about this. This could be a sport. Nipples tug of war.
Yeah, I guess it could be. I never heard of it before, Paul. I mean,
let
he's
me
the only
warn you.
person. Okay. Well, he's the only person I think that I know that's ever done something like this. So
don't Google it. Don't Google it.
No, please don't. Yeah.
No, you will find things not suitable for work or sensitive eyes.
Right.
So anyway, that's what he did. He, his nipple, when he's done, his nipples are so long he doesn't need to buy a jump rope. He just uses them and jump in.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's how long they are. His wife uses him as a clothesline now. That's how long they are. Yeah. All right. I want to end on a high note and a little nicer story here. So this comes from England. KFC in England. Now, one of the things that you'll notice on our show, we'll talk about some of our well-known food chains. When they're in other countries, they sell different foods to cater to the locals. So in England, KFC has something called the pickle menu. And on the pickle, it's called Pickle Mania menu. They are serving, and I have a picture of it in a second. I'll show it to you. Pickle burgers, pickle loaded fries, Rickles, and pickle Pepsi Max. So because so many people love this Pickle Mania menu, they've decided to come up with some merchandise to sell along with it. What are they selling? They're selling something called the Pickle Puffer Jacket.
Oh my gosh.
Which is a puffer jacket, one of those things like we wear in Cleveland when it's cold outside. But instead of being filled with foam, it's filled with pickles and pickle juice.
No.
Yes. And it's clear, so your friends and perfect strangers walking down the street can see how proud you are of your pickle puffer jacket. Not only that, those things sticking out of his chest are not his nipples. Those are actually nipples. Those are straws that allow him to drink the pickle juice while
no.
Yes.
Oh God.
Wow. And you think you've seen it all here on What in the World.
No, I'm sure we haven't. He'll find more.
Oh, Karen, you're right.
Wait. There's more. Watch this. Here's a woman in a pickle puffer jacket. So it's just for men. The women like it too. John, this is the kind of thing, if you wore this in high school, guaranteed you would immediately be shoved into a locker and locked in.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No question about it. What kind of sandwich does she have, this lady have here?
Oh, well, it's one of the pickle. John likes the pickle sandwich. I'll show you in a second here. So don't, again, if you're playing at home, don't Google pickle puffer, because you're going to get a whole lot of different things that have nothing to do with McDonald's or pickle or jacket. So here's a picture of the menu itself. This is the sandwich, John, is it's not fried pickles, but it's got pickles all over it. It's a piece of chicken covered with dill pickles on either side and some sort of special sauce. But the thing that I like, I love fried dill pickles. So the fried dill pickles look good, but there's these things called frickles, which is in the middle over there. Frickles are fried dill pickles. They're fried and mixed with French fries. That's why they're called frickles. They're fries and pickles. And frickle is also what you get if you eat the whole menu.
No,
you,
yes, I
you get a
bet.
bad case of the frickles, I think. John, I don't know if you remember this, and this is number 3. This is the first time we've done this. I believe we saw the Pickle Puffers open for Bob Dylan. Do you?
But you know what?
Oh,
I would have
Dylan.
to remember
Oh.
that one. I should remember that one,
Sure.
Paul, but
Karen
I
can
don't.
vouch. I don't think I've ever stooped that low for a pun.
That was good though. Yeah.
Paul, what are those little circular discs that are in a bag?
Those
There,
are
what are
those are
they?
fried dill pickles. Those are
Those are good. Fried dill
Okay.
pickles
Oh,
are good.
if you get good ones, yes,
Yeah.
they're excellent. I wish KFC in Northeast Ohio in the United States sold fried dill pickle. That I'm sure they'd be great. They probably taste a little bit like chicken, but that everything at KFC tastes like.
Well, it should.
My
Yeah.
final note here is going back to the pickle puffer jacket. I thought, if you filled this with beer instead of with pickles and pickle juice, you could sell 1,000 of these at the Browns games,
Oh
especially.
yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah,
Oh, the
I would
dog
think
pound.
so.
Everybody in the dog pound would have one of these. It'd be the best-selling souvenir at Brown Stadium.
Okay.
Okay. So there's one last side hustle for people out there. Instead of a pickle puffle ad, you'd have to call it a Pilsner puffer. Or no, I'm sure somebody will come up with a better name than that. We're done with that. We're done with all my weird stories for today. So that means it's time for What in the World of Sports with John DiNallo. I think I got your logo. There we go. Okay, What in the World of Sports with John. Regular listeners of the show know that John and I met first day of school when we went to college. We became fraternity brothers. We've been friends ever since. John knows more about sports and trivia than just about anybody I know. So he's the perfect person for this segment. Every week I ask him, John, I need a sport that lives up to the motto, real sport, sometimes weird, always funny. And regular listeners will vouch for this. John comes up with a good one every single week. What do you got for us this week, John?
Oh, Paul, thanks for the big introduction. I appreciate that. Thank you. So our sport this week is very different and very I don't know. I don't think very mainstream by any means, but the sport is Olympic dueling. Olympic dueling, and let me explain. With so many new sports trying to gain inclusion into the Olympics, I thought it would be fun to look at a sport that was introduced at the games over 100 years ago and
Wow.
for some strange reason was quickly dropped. That sport is Olympic dueling.
Wow.
Now, it was not unusual for Olympians to fire weapons during the games. Activities involving marksmanship had been part of the event since 1896, when the first modern games in Athens, Greece were held. The 1920 Antwerp Games also included 21 different events involving pistols, rifles, or other firearms.
Jeez.
Now, of course, human targets are a different matter. But the 1906 intercalated games in Athens would prove to be an exception. The Athens Games, which were approved by the International Olympic Committee, the IOC, as a way of bridging the gap in the 4 years between the Summer Olympics and to pay tribute to Greece as the innovator of the contest, hosted an official competition for duelists in which they were able to fire not at each other, but at plaster dummies who were dressed in frock coats.
Wow.
Now, the marksman took aim from approximately 20 to 30 meters away, and Frenchman Leon Moreau took home the gold medal that year. Dueling was not officially included in the 1908 London Games, but some of the world's best marksmen were invited to participate in a public demonstration at the Games. Some of the participants were already there. They were also competitive fencers. Kind of find that interesting, you know,
Yeah.
fencing and being a marksman with a pistol. Now, This time, they took aim at one another, but they were splattering wax bullets onto each other's protective gear while standing on the fencing grounds. A total of 11 competitors from America, France, Russia, and Sweden took part. American hotshot Walter Winans was the favorite, but he bit the bullet, so to speak, when Major Ferris of France scored a direct hit to the heart and won the competition. Back to Winans, he began forming dueling clubs in schools in the U.S. to compete in the next Olympics, which would be the 2012 or 1912 Stockholm Games. While those games included running deer shooting, don't worry, no deer were harmed. The moving targets were shaped like deer. Dueling missed the cut again.
Wow.
There was its last chance because the war to end all wars, World War I, began shortly after, and they ended began shortly after they ended, and all of a sudden shooting at each other was no longer a fun sport and was going to be included in the competition. Now, in closing, while we'll probably never see Olympic dueling return, using wax bullets sounds like an idea whose time has come. I'm sure Alexander Hamilton would agree.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Wow. Olympic dueling in the Olympics with wax bullet. That is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I can't think of another word for it, John.
Well, I was totally amazed, Paul, that this competition actually took place for several
Yeah.
years, right? It didn't take any it didn't gain a foothold, of course, but for several Olympics there, it was part of the competition.
Yeah, and these guys, this is in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So the suits that they're wearing, they can't be too protective. They do have like metal diving helmets on to protect their faces from
Right.
wax bullets. I'm guessing those, even though they were wax, they were still coming at them pretty fast. So
Yeah, I think they were smart, right? And then
yeah,
what about the Frenchman who won because he was able to shoot at his opponent and hit him right in the heart.
yeah.
Wow.
Unbelievable. I hope it doesn't come back. I don't. I have a feeling that there's not much call for it these days. That you don't see too many dueling matches. Although, John, as I was reviewing your notes for this story, it reminded me of a time when we were in school, where our fraternity got challenged by another fraternity to something having to do with wax. It might have been dueling with wax bullets. I don't know. We always agreed to the events before we found out all the details because we were such cocky fraternity brothers. Uh,
That's right. That is very true.
that part is true. That's right. So, we didn't have any guns, so we weren't about to do any dueling. But the wax thing sounded like, maybe we could do something with that. So we counter challenged the other team to a duel with candles, wax candles, and to make it more challenging, what we did was we said that you had to put the candle on your head, and the person who allowed the candle to melt all the way down and cover them with wax would be the winner. You remember that?
No, because I think I wanted to
Oh,
forget it. I wanted to permanently erase it from my memory, Paul.
I can't believe it, John, because I do have some photos of it, by the way. So I think this is a photo of me with a number of candles on my head. You can tell it's me because of
my
the
goodness.
Because of your
lovely
black
beard.
beard,
Yeah,
right? You have your beard there. Sure.
quite covered with wax. But John, John was our fraternity star, and I think this looks like John just completely covered with wax. There's his glasses. The wax has melted all the way down to the wick going out right there.
Well, at least I had my glasses out of the way as well. I mean, that
Yeah,
was I
yeah.
think that's kind of important if you ask me. Right.
So John was very intimidating to the other team. When they saw this, the best they could do with this kid right here. He was he he got a medal for trying, as it says on the sign over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Participation beer, I think we would have given him back then.
Yes, at that time, right.
A smaller glass, but there you go. Wax bullet dueling, Olympic dueling, only on What in the World of Sports. Thanks so much, John, for that.
You're welcome, Paul, Karen, and audience. It was a lot of fun to do it.
Yes, it was a lot of fun to hear. So, John's portion is ended. That means it's time for Bluff the co-host, everybody's favorite weird news game. Rules are simple. I have 3 stories similar to the ones we've been talking about all afternoon. One big difference, and that is those stories were real. These stories, believe it or not, these stories may be real, maybe a bluff. 1, 2, 3, or all of them. So it's up to John and Karen and those of you playing at home to decide real or bluff. Wagering is allowed, so place your bets. John and Karen, hands on the buzzer. Let's get right to story number 1. If you've ever gotten so mad at your personal computer that you wanted to slap it or slam it shut, you may have decided not to because you might break it, plus there's no way to know if it felt the pain. Not anymore. A software company has developed an app for the MacBook that makes the PC groan, moan, and emit other sounds of pain when you tap it, smack it, or smash it closed. The Slap Mac app has a sound to pick from, and it detects the slap using motion sensors and adjusts the volume accordingly. If you're not the violent type, you can also use the app to make appropriate and inappropriate sounds when you plug in new hardware or just poke the keys a little too hard. For $5, the Slap Mac app will entertain you, relieve your aggression, and make your Windows-loving fans extremely jealous. All right, so you want to punish your PC for acting up on you, maybe having your screen freeze. This is an app that will allow you to do that and make the PC moan. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
This sounds so ridiculous. I don't know anybody who would want this. So I'm going to say thank you for writing a story today, and I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Okay. Oh, Karen says it's a bluff. Karen is a Mac person, by the way, too, aren't you?
Not anymore.
Oh, not anymore. Okay. All right. John is a Mac person. So Karen says
I'm a Mac person. That is true.
How about you, John? What do you think?
I'm going to say they come up with apps of all types now. Obviously, we all know that. And I could see this one getting some traction. So I'm going to say it's a true story. As odd as it is, I'm going to say it's true.
Okay. All right. As odd as it is, that could apply to all of us. As odd as it is. Sorry, Karen, I didn't mean to include you in that.
That's okay.
John says it's a real story, the Slap Mac app. Karen says it's a bluff. Let's check with the judges. The judges say, congratulations, go to John. That is a real app. And I'm telling you, for $5 a piece, this guy's going to be rich.
I would think, I was going to
big
say, I
market
think that
for
he's
it.
going to do real well.
Yeah, he'll be the next Elon Musk Jr. Let's hope not. Okay, so scores 1-0. John's in the lead. Oh boy, John, don't get too cocky there.
I won't.
Karen's got a streak going.
I'm really concentrating hard.
All right, good. Okay, well, let's get right to story number 2 then. You might think Pope Leo has better things to do during Holy Week, but the modern pontiff took time out of his busy day recently to bless some robots that were brought in by an Italian robotics company. Pope Leo agreed to the unusual request after it was explained to him that the robots would be used to recite gospel verses to children in Italian schools where there's a severe shortage of religion teachers. The robots have humanoid upper bodies and very realistic faces, but he asked that they not develop any that look like him. Pope Leo also liked robots would ask the children about going to church and then send a message to the pastor to contact their parents if they say they don't attend. I quote, "It's the way of the future," said Pope Leo, as the humanoid robots getting the blessing smiled and said, Amen. Okay, so Pope Leo blesses humanoid robots that recite gospel verses in schools. Real or bluff? John, we'll start with you.
Well, I'll tell you, Paul and Karen and audience, I think this is a bluff. I mean, I think the idea that if there's a shortage of teachers, uh, well, again, that's something that they have to try to work out. But having a robot, relating gospel verses as important as it is to people in the Catholic faith, I just don't see it. So I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Okay, John says it's a bluff. Karen, how about you?
Well, I hope it's a bluff because, robots are taking too many of our jobs away.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I'm hoping it's a bluff.
Okay, all right. Karen hopes it's a bluff. Karen, your job is secure for now.
Okay.
And John also says it's a bluff, that Pope Leo did not bless robots that would be teaching religion in schools. And let's check with the judges, and the judges say congratulations to both of you. That is a bluff.
Okay, good.
I'll tell
All
you
right,
what,
that's
though.
good. My
Yeah.
faith has been restored.
Yeah.
In my other jobs, which I don't have anymore, but not because of robots, there are robotic ministers and robotic Buddhist monks that are starting to do these kinds of things in churches and temples. But I don't know about the Catholic Church yet, and certainly I don't think Pope Leo would ever bless a robot. So
I would hope not. No.
Unless he made a major donation to the church. Oh boy, I'm going to you know where for that one. Okay, so score. John scores again, as does Karen. The score is now 2-1. John in the lead, but points are doubled in round number 3. So Karen could come roaring back unless John holds on. So let's see what we got here with story number 3. Residents of a neighborhood in Florida were upset after a neighbor built a 24-foot tall potty chair in his yard. But the homeowners association can't do anything about it because he got a permit, and the giant potty chair is based on a work of art that is on display in a major museum. Although no one has ever been brave enough to climb up on it, the potty chair is usable and has a painting of a clown at the bottom, no pun intended, to use for target practice. The chair can be seen from airplanes, but his building permit protects him from complaints in the air as well. It has now become a roadside attraction for tourists, and he's thinking about collecting donations because the 10-year-old giant potty chair is starting to look a little, get ready, poop. So, guy in Florida built a 20-foot tall potty chair that nobody can do anything about because he had a permit. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll go back to you on this one.
Well, you know how we say it's so odd it has to be true? This sounds so odd that I think it may be true.
Okay. All right. Karen says there really is a giant potty chair somewhere in Florida. After I was reading this, I thought, well, John just came back from Florida. I hope he didn't by any chance drive past it.
Well, I can confidently say, Paul, that we did not encounter anything like that.
Oh, no. So do you think
it's not there? But yeah, we did not encounter it.
So it's real or bluff?
I'm going to say it's a bluff. I mean,
okay.
Something that large, and I just don't see it. Other people might, but I just don't see it. So I'm going to say
all right.
It's a bluff.
So John says the giant potty chair is a bluff. Karen says it's a real story. Let's check with the judges. And the judges say, wow, she comes back from behind. Karen, is a real story. I'll have to.
Oh, well, very good, Karen. Very good.
Thank you.
Paul, do you know
the picture,
do you know the community where this chair is by any chance?
No, I didn't write it down. I didn't want to give you any hints. But I'll send you the story, and I'll probably put it. I'll put it on Facebook too.
Good.
That way you go see it next time you're in Florida.
There you go. That's right.
Maybe. I will try to go. Look for it. Sure.
Make a road trip.
Another motivation for us to go back.
Yeah, we'll give you. if he starts charging admission, we'll give you a quarter to put in the bucket.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
Lord.
wow, so we've reached the end of another episode of What in the World. I want to thank Karen Hale, our producer, co-host, media mogul at newclevelandradio.net. Thanks so much, Karen, for everything you do for our show, for all the great podcasts you have at newclevelandradio.net. Everybody, go visit them. All different kinds, nothing like What in the World, but a lot of them with very useful and helpful information. Plus, Yes, I Can Coaching, our sponsor with Karen, for many different types of coaching. So check that out as well. She's got a link to Cleveland 13 News on her page, so you can check them out. Great news station in Cleveland, an internet station, so you can learn all about that and all of its expansion plans, which include What in the World. So we're excited about that. Thank you, John DiNallo, my buddy, for all you put up with, plus co-hosting, color commentary, and What in the World of Sports. So,
well, thank you very much, Paul. Doing this podcast is one of the highlights of my week. I want to make sure everyone knows that.
Well, we appreciate you being here.
definitely,
Oh, good.
yeah, we're
Thanks,
glad
Karen.
you're back from Florida. That's right, and brought some warm weather with us, at least for a
That's
day.
right.
Yes. Well, thanks, gang. Appreciate that.
And most importantly, we want to thank all of you out there, whether you're watching us live, listening to us live, watching or listening to us in the future on YouTube or on one of the other platforms. Thank you so much for joining us. You're the reason why we've been doing this for 9 years now. And we continue to do it. We have a blast putting it on. We hope that you have a blast listening and watching. Check us out on YouTube, as always, to check out pictures of all the things we were talking about. Maybe I'll bring it next week. I'll bring a picture of the 20-foot tall potty chair.
Wow, yeah, that would be something. Wow.
Neat to see. Absolutely.
There you go. Yeah. And there really is a clown at the bottom. That is, I couldn't make something up that funny. It's there is a clown at the bottom. So it's just like putt, only I'm not even going to say it.
Yeah, don't go there, Paul. Don't go there. Right.
I think you should stop there.
I think so. On that note, I think we will end it. For those of you who celebrate Easter, happy Easter. Passover, did I miss Passover? Or is that
No, it starts tomorrow night.
starts tomorrow? Okay, for all of you
So
who
either you eat matzah or you eat jelly beans. You get a choice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
Okay.
that's a tough decision there
Yeah.
for many of
So
you.
I prefer the jelly beans, but I'm sorry, I gotta eat the matzah. So we'll see you all next week.
This is the dry matzah, not the matzo balls in the soup, right?
Well, you can have matzo balls in the soup too. Those are okay. The dry matzahs, whatever.
Yeah. Manischewitz blew it when they came up with those. But matzo ball, I would have a tough time choosing between matzo balls and jelly beans, and I think we have beat this too.
Yes, we have. We'll see everybody next week.
Whatever holiday, please enjoy yourselves. Be safe, and we'll see you next week on What.
Have a great weekend.